He's zaddy Cade, okay? Or steamy. Immediately no. Immediately no. No, no. Throw the whole book away. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa, and as you can already tell by the title of the video, today we're going to be doing a full review of the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. Let's get into this video. So if you are a new reader and you are looking for fun romance books, or if you are an old reader and you don't know if cowboy series are for you, or if you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard about this series and you're just looking for something a little bit different to read, do not run. Okay, wait, stop that. Do not walk, run. This series is so good that I am pretty sure you are going to find at least one book in the series that you are going to fall in love with and that you are going to go back to over and over. I was the same way. I didn't think I would be into cowboys and cowboy series, and let me tell you, I was so wrong because Elsie Silver just did her thing. She did her thing. So this is an interconnected standalone series. So every book follows a couple. This is 4 brothers and a friend. You can read every book separately, but it is good to read them in order because then you get little gems, little breadcrumbs for future couples, and you get to see how people are interacting in the future. You get to understand their personalities more because you're getting to know them over time. The feeling that I felt by the time that I was done reading the Chestnut Spring series is kind of like I went out of town for a little bit, got all of the juicy town gossip, and then came back and was like, oh, I missed Chestnut Springs. That's how it felt by the time I was done, because you really get immersed in the story when you read them all together and in order. This series is spicy, okay? Let me just say that out of the gate. This is a spicy series. If you're not into spice, maybe you should stay away from this one. However, I do think that Elsie Silver does a great job at doing spice the right way. We feel the connection between the couples before spice even start happening. So when it does happen, it feels a little bit more worth it, and I feel like you understand. You just don't feel like you're reading smut for the sake of reading smut. You actually feel the connection. So I think it is worth it. So first book in the series is Flawless. Flawless follows Rhett. He is the younger brother out of the Eatons, and he is a bull rider. He has a very tumultuous personality. He does his own thing, and he's doing pretty well for himself. However, when this book starts, he gets into some bad situation because he gets caught on tape saying that he does not like milk despite his milk, but one of his biggest sponsor is actually a milk company, like a dairy company. So you can imagine that that sponsor was not happy to hear that and dropped him immediately. And then all the other sponsors that he has are looking at him like, okay, we don't know what to make with this. You're always kind of like in the news for something, and then now we find out that you're not really trustworthy, because if you don't like milk, why would you accept a sponsorship from a milk company? So they're pretty much on the fence, and they don't know if they want to continue working with him. They're just circling around and trying to decide. So his manager decides to go into damage control and says, for the next 2 months until the championship is over, we need to make sure that you don't do anything else. You don't get into any more trouble. And I'm going to assign to you a babysitter that's going to make sure that you stay in line. And who does he choose as the babysitter? None other than his own daughter, Summer, who just graduated from law school. Now, this book is marketed as enemies to lovers. I don't know if you can really say that because they're not enemies. Summer does not dislike Red, and Red only dislikes Summer because who wants to have a babysitter following you around everywhere, you know? So that's pretty much where the animosity starts from, but it's not really that they're enemies. So I don't know how much this is enemies to lovers. However, it is age gap. Summer is 25. Red is like 32, I believe. It is forced proximity because she has to follow him around everywhere. She moves into the ranch where he lives when he is not traveling, and when he is traveling, she's in the hotel room next door. Does she stay there? I don't know. But yes. So we have enemies to lovers, age gap, forced proximity. I absolutely love this book. You are going to hear that people will say that this is not their favorite book of the series. Please do not let this deter you. What they're saying is there are so many other books that are good in this series that this pale in comparison, but if this was a standalone romance, this would be amazing by itself. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is so, so good. Red and Summer are so good together. The main discussion that I felt out of this book is figuring out what is the balance between caring about what people think about you and not caring about what people think about you. Her relationship with her family members are pretty sad. Her stepmom, her sister, and the only person that really seems to care for her is her dad. That's the only person she has a good relationship with. So she really cares about what people think about her. She wants to make her dad proud. She's like a very responsible person. And in Rhett, on the other hand, he has a great family and he has a great relationship with his family. However, he does not care what they think about him. They do not like his job and he does not care. He does his own thing. So they had to get to a place of figuring out what is the right balance. How do you go to a place of living your own life, but also caring about what other people think about you, and how much do you give and how much do you take? Great book. I love this. Please read this one. Do not skip it. And also this book is really good because this is where you get introduced to all of the characters that are gonna be impactful for the entire series. So you really need to at least read this one so that you can get the lay of the land. Okay? Okay. Next book. Probably everyone's favorite book out of the series, Heartless. What can we say about Heartless? So, in Flawless, we get introduced to Willa, which is Summer's best friend. Heartless, this story is about Cade. For me, he's Zaddy Cade, okay? Let's just say that. The eldest brother. Their mom passed away when they were very young. He was 11 at the time, and he automatically assumed a parental role. Even though the dad was there, obviously he was mourning and grieving, so he could not be as present as he wanted to be for the kids. So Cade stepped up and was the one cooking, cleaning, taking care of his younger brothers, bringing them to school. So because of that, Cade has had a pretty stoic, responsible personality type. He's very grumpy. He doesn't think about having fun. And then when he gets older, he gets married. That relationship doesn't work out. He ends up with his son, Luke, so adorable, who is now about 7 to 8 years old, and now he's a single father. So you can imagine once again, he's in this responsible role. And in comes Willa, which on her end, her family is very successful. She rides horse for a living, but at the time this story is about to take place, it's the summer and her horse is injured. So he's recovering, so she can't ride him right now. And then she used to work at her brother's bar, and her brother made it big. So now the bar is being renovated. So again, she doesn't have a job for the summer. So Cade is looking for a nanny for Luke because he's so rambunctious and outgoing, and he's getting into trouble, kid trouble, nothing crazy. And he feels like Luke needs a nanny that's fun and young that can keep up with him. But everyone that interviews for the position lives in town, and Cade is like, no, I don't want anyone in my house who's gonna try to get in my pants, because the Eatons are very famous in town, and all the women are trying to get with them. So he's like, yeah, I don't want anyone who's gonna get in my pants. I don't want anyone, this person is too old, this person is to this. So his family is frustrated at this point, and they're like, we're just gonna find someone for you and you're just gonna be okay with it. And Summer is like, I'm not gonna be the one to do this job. So she enlists Willa to be the nanny, and Cade is not happy about this. Their first interaction was quite shocking, to him at least. So he is like, no, Willa is not the person. She's not gonna be a good influence on my kid. I don't want this. But in the end, he has to accept, and Willa moves in. So this book, as you can already tell, is Grumpy Sunshine. And I don't even know if you can say Grumpy Sunshine because Willa is more like a rainbow. So Grumpy Sunshine, definitely age gap. Willa is also in her 20s, and Cade is like even older than Red, so like 37 or something like that. And that's a big factor also that's gonna be playing out in their relationship. Cade is gonna be very self-conscious about his age. He's gonna always feel that Willa is way too young for him, that this cannot go further. Forced proximity, she moves into the ranch. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so Willa and Cade were amazing. I loved them. I loved how Willa came in and she allowed Cade to explore some of the things that he didn't get to explore when he was younger, some of his dreams and his passion, because he had to take on so much responsibility early on. And on the other hand, what I loved about this is that Willa came in with a sense of no purpose. When she came in, her, again, like I said, her family is very successful, but she has kind of like this, I'm not gonna say mediocre, but she's not doing much with her life, and she's kind of wondering, is that okay? Does she have to be a very successful person? Can she live a more simpler life and decide that she's not interested in pursuing all these accolades and all these goals and constantly having to strive for something? And then also, she's this badass woman who does not take any ish from no one, and she's wondering, does that make her less of a badass woman if all she wants to do is be at home in the kitchen with her kids, her husband? So those are things that she has to explore for herself and figure out what is the right balance. So I really enjoyed that discussion. Obviously, in a romance book, you're looking for the chemistry between the female character and the male character, and that was absolutely there for Willa and Cade. You definitely felt it. Some of these scenes were steamy. However, the thing that I loved the most was the chemistry between Willa and Luke. Watching Willa and Luke fall in love with each other, the best. I didn't even know that I was a single dad nanny kind of girl type of trope person, and I am. And I always thought that kids in books sometimes make the book kind of like, ugh, because you never know, they can be kind of annoying and stuff like that. No, not in this case. They were so good with each other. I love Willa as a mom. I was just like, girl, you need to marry this man, if anything, for Luke. Okay, not even for Cade, for Luke. Love this book. One of my favorite in the series. I rated this one 4.5 out of 5. So, yay. So next book in the series is Powerless. And Powerless follows Jasper and Sloane. Jasper is not a blood-related Ian. So Jasper has a very traumatic past. A tragedy struck in his family when he was younger, and he ended up moving in with the Ians. They adopted him, not legally, but took him in, and he became one of the brothers. And then Sloane is actually the Eaton's cousin, and every summer she would come on the ranch and spend time with Violet, the little sister, which is referred to throughout the books. And of course, that's where she met Jasper. And the minute she laid eyes on Jasper, Sloane fell in love. She has been pining after this man all her life, since she's been like 11 years old. And even though Sloane has been in love with him, and everyone has been aware, even him, but at the time I think they have about a 7-year age gap, so there was nothing to do. She was 11 years old and he was already like in his late teens. And then as things went on, obviously she's too young. That would have been way inappropriate, but she kept trying. There's even a scene where she asked him to go on a date with her, to take her out to prom when she's 17, and at that point he's 24 and already a hockey player, famous, and he's like, no, I just got in the league. Taking out a 17-year-old is not gonna be a good look for me. No. And he didn't see her that way anyways. He saw her as a little sister. So Sloane has been pining for him all her life, but then eventually she realizes what they have in terms of like friendship is really important and so beautiful, that even though she can't have him as, as a lover, as her boyfriend, her man, she's going to settle for the friendship because that also is very important to her, and she gives up. On the other end, Jasper, so when the story starts, Sloane is in a pretty sticky situation and Jasper rescues her. and then they leave the situation, go back to the ranch, and when they get to the ranch, they get some really horrific news. And so at that point, they are both reeling. Their life is out of control. The situation is so bad that Jasper does not play hockey for about 2 weeks. So during that time, they decide to go on a road trip to bring hay to Violet to her ranch because they are running out of hay over there. And so they spend that time together, kind of like getting their bearings. Sloane is trying to figure out what she's gonna do with her life now. And then Jasper is trying to figure out, like, what does he do? How does he wrestle with this news? And until he can get better news, what is going to happen? So this is where we get this forced proximity between them, because they have to go on that journey together. And this is when also things start to change. Sloane is starting to realize that Jasper is looking at her a little differently. He used to look at her with this very loving, like, you're my best friend, you're my person type of look. But now this you're my person is starting to look a little bit sexy, sensual, you know? And so they have to figure out, can they move past this friend zone? Obviously, this is what Sloane's ever wanted, but now is it too late for, you know, is Jasper too late? Has she moved on? Jasper is trying to figure that part out also. So it makes for a very interesting book. I have to admit that this is not my favorite book of the series. Jasper is one of my favorite characters for sure. I love myself a tortured man. A man who can be sexy, mysterious, brooding, kind of like quiet to himself, with a past that'll get me every time, you know? But I felt that as a character, Sloane fell flat for me. She is supposed to be this ballerina, prima ballerina, and throughout the entire book, I don't really get much from her when it comes to that aspect of her life. She is letting her family kind of like run her life, and she never saw it. And by the time she realized it, I also felt like she didn't stand up for herself as much as I would have wanted to. She ended up standing up for herself, but I felt that she always needed Jasper's support. I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't work for me. I think the thing is that I have to keep in mind is that I do have a bias. I don't mind unrequited love if it's on the man's side, and then eventually the girl starts to fall for him. When unrequited love is on the girl's side and the girl is pining for the man, and then the man is oblivious, kill me. Immediately no. Immediately no. Someone is gonna fall first, it's gonna be the guy. So for me, watching Sloane constantly remind us of how much she is in love with Jasper, and Jasper will never love her, Jasper will never love her. It just was like not my favorite thing. But I will say, if spice is something that you're into, this book may be it. This has the most intense and well done, also, I think, spice that I can think about. Jasper did not come to play. That's all I have to say, okay? So I gave this one a 3.75. Let's say 3.9 out of, I just cannot give this one a 4 when I gave this one a 4. If this is for spice, 5 out of 5. But if it's for the storyline, I do not think that this is better. Ooh, I just hit my glasses. I don't think that this is better than Flawless in terms of like the storyline, the love story. And I'm very surprised because, again, they're the friends. She's the one that's been in love with him forever. And you learn a little bit more about him also and how he's felt about her. So I do think that this could have been better, but it still didn't feel as good as this for me. So 3.9. 4. And on to my favorite book of the series, Reckless. This book wrecked me. It wrecked me, okay? This book is gold. I love it. I will be rereading this. Theo is my man. I don't even know what to say about this book, because this book has everything to make me not like it. Okay, let me take a moment. Reel it back in. Okay, so this book follows Theo and Winter. In the first book, you're going to learn about Winter, which is Summer's sister, and you are made to not like Winter at the beginning because growing up, her and Summer, well, not even growing up, her and Summer do not have a good relationship. Growing up, she was very mean to Summer, very distant. She's this very cold to herself person, like ice queen, does not show any emotion. And Summer is like the complete opposite, warm, you know, welcoming. Obviously the parents were really messed up with those names, but they suited the girls pretty well. So no one likes Winter. And then for other reasons, you're also gonna find out that Winter's life kind of falls apart in the first book, and also more details will come out in the second book. So when this book starts, Winter is at her wit's end. She is a broken woman and she's just trying to rebuild her life and trying to figure out like where to go from there. And then Theo is a bull rider also. His dad used to be a famous championship winning bull rider, was Red's mentor. He passed away. So now that he passed away, Red is determined to mentor and see that Theo also wins a championship as a way to thank his mentor for all he did for him. So Theo, on the other hand, he's grappling with the fact that he's very talented in the field, but no one takes him seriously because he's this like, how do you say this? He has this very outgoing personality. He's a golden retriever personality. He is just so good, so funny, so sweet, but at the same time, so sexy, so handsome. Girls fall over for him. Not a womanizer, but he gets girls, okay? He gets the ladies. This is not a problem that he has. So no one is really taking him seriously in the league, in the bull riding organization, I guess you should say, bull riding world. And when they see him, what he's known for is very talented, has the legacy of his dad, but the pug bunnies love him. Pug bunnies? No. So when the story starts, you can imagine that Winter and Theo have nothing in common. Winter is a doctor. This is not like a man for her, a bull rider. She's not thinking about that at all. And she's just trying to rebuild her life. However, because she's had such a horrible time up until this point, she decides to give herself one night of fun. One night where she does not think about it and she does what she wants. And that's with Mr. Theo. And let's just say that things do not go as planned because she gets pregnant. I know what you're thinking. Accidental pregnancy? No. Throw the whole book away. Who does that? Elsie Silver does, and you're gonna love it. And that's the funny thing. She does it and you're gonna love it. How do I love this book? How? Because Elsie Silver is a genius, that's why, okay? This is brilliant. The way she found a way to create angst and that yearning and that pulling, the way she helped those characters grow and the way she made them grow, but not because they made each other, like they were asking each other to grow. I think that's the thing that I love the most about this book is you are going to see Winter change, but not because anyone or Theo asked her to change. Just by being with him and by being in, you know, around other people and the things that happen, she is gonna warm up. She's never gonna be Summer though, you know, but she is going to warm up. She's gonna open up her heart. Her life is going to change. And on the other hand, by the time Theo comes in this picture, you start to see him change also. And it's not because Winter has asked him and told him, you need to get better or you need to do this in order to, no. Stepped up and was the best. Is this the best Spice? I don't know, I'm not really sure, but it was really good. It's just that the storyline and their love was so much more for me that I absolutely love this book. In terms of the trope, what do we have? We have accidental pregnancy, single parents, forced proximity, but not that much in the vicinity. And then what else? Ooh, Elsie Silver throughout her books, most of the characters have age gap and the women are much younger. In this book, Theo is younger. And why is he still daddy? why is he still a zaddy? Why? One thing I'm going to say is I think I may have a thing for dads, because why are my favorite books the two books where the guy is a dad? Do I need to address this? Therapy, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I need to address this. Maybe some therapy is needed. Anyways, so this is Reckless. This is my favorite book of the series. I will say 4.75 out of 5. Whenever I give a book 5-star, I want to annotate the book. There are lines in the book that just pierce my soul, that I know that I'm going to remember. This is how I give 5 stars. But in terms of romance, if we're just judging in the romance, if we're just judging on that, and this could be a 5-star. The only reason it's not a 5-star for me, it's again because of that. Books that I rate 5 stars are books that I'm literally writing in the book because the writing and then some of the quotes are really going through, and I feel like I can go back to them. But and the last book of the series is with Bo and Bailey. Bo is the middle brother, well, was in the army by the time this book starts, and something happens and he has to put an end to his army career, and he comes back home and he's pretty much a little bit broken, and he is, you know, going to the bar, drinking a lot. He's not sleeping, and he used to be the life of the party, the one that people would go to if they wanted to have a good time. But now everyone is walking around him, you know, on eggshell. People are pretty tense. They don't know how to approach him. He is working at the ranch with Cade because that's what he said he would do once he retired. But he doesn't really enjoy ranch life, even though he grew up on the ranch. He absolutely hates it. So he feels lost. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go, but you know, he doesn't want to stay also. So this is where we meet Bo. This is where he's at in his life. And then on the other hand, Bailey, she's the pariah of the town. Her family is scum of scums, the worst there is. If there is anything illegal, they've probably done it. Her dad and her 2 brothers have been arrested multiple times. They've done burglaries, they've scammed, they are, you know, into drugs, alcohol. They're the worst. And of course, this is a small town. So when a whole family decides to be, you know, pieces of it will reflect on everyone, even if you're not doing that. And that's basically what's going on with Bailey, is that even though she's the sweetest soul in the world, no one was to give her a chance because her brothers and her dad have basically soiled their name. And so she's having a hard time finding her way in town also. The only place that has hired her is the local town bar, and that's only because it's owned by an outside investor. And then a lot of the people that work in the bar do not live in the town, so they don't fully understand the dynamics, so there's no animosity there. But anywhere else in town where she tries to find a job, no one wants to hire her, and people are pretty mean to her. Like, she's walking down the streets, if she goes into a store, people will make pretty nasty comments. So she's also wanting to get away, but she needs to save, she needs to have enough money to go away, and she can't work enough, so she's stuck also. So basically we have 2 people who are stuck where they are and don't know how to move forward. And because Bo keeps going to the bar and notices how Bailey works at the bar by herself, he starts to feel a little protective over her, and he decides to spend all his night at the bar. And he's basically there just to keep her company as like a bodyguard. And so they strike up this friendship, they start to talk, and he finds out all those things about Bailey, and Bailey saying like, my name basically has made it impossible. Like, she's a Jensen. My name has made it impossible for me to have a life in this town. And Bo's in denial. Again, Eatons are well loved in town. Everyone is very nice and respectful to them. So he's like, no, Chestnut Springs, never. They would never be mean to you. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna prove it. The reason why you're not getting a job is not because of your last name. It's because, I mean, you're doing something wrong. So I'm gonna give you my last name. And Bailey's like, how do you give me your last name? He's like, let's get engaged. Fake engage. And you're basically gonna be an Eaton by extension, and you're gonna notice that you're still not getting a job, because people would give you a job because you're an Eaton, but they're still not gonna give you a job because it's you that's doing something wrong. You need to change whatever that is. And so this is how we get fake dating, fake engagement. Definitely age gap. Bailey is only 22 and Bo is already like, I don't know, 35 or something. Forced proximity, some of the events that will happen will bring them together and they will have some sort of forced proximity also. I love this book. Again, also not my favorite in the series because of certain things. And again, those are personal biases. I don't want to ruin anything for you, but there are some body parts that I'm not okay with touching. And they are being touched in this book for good reasons, but they still kind of like ring some stuff in me that I could not let go of. Also, Bo is supposed to be this sexy character, but he's also so grumpy and mopey. And I do understand because of his background why, but the way he was written kind of didn't make me fall in love with him the way I would have wanted to. I did like the connection between Bailey and Bo. I did love the fact that Bailey, when you first meet her in the series, is this very mousy, shy person, and it is understandable why she is. But when we meet her in this book, she's grown quite a bit and she's gotten into herself as a young woman, and she is going to give Bo the business. She is going to set him straight in a loving way and not a Willow way, which is like in your face. But she is not going to let him get away with stuff, let him wallow in his situation. And on the other hand, Bo is really gonna come to show Bailey how she deserves to be cherished and loved. And I love the dynamic between them, even though he is so much older than her. Elsie did a good job at making them very compatible and making us believe that this 22-year-old and this 35-year-old have enough in common to really make it work. And at the end of the book, they end up making a decision. I saw it's Bo who ends up making the sacrifice, I feel like, more. And usually I see women making that sacrifice, so I'm really happy to see. Although Bo, it was a long time coming for him, but I did love that he was willing to make that change to be with Bailey. And so that was really amazing to me. I really love that. So this book is a solid book for me. Also, other than these body parts that were being touched that are quite anyways, moving on. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. So 4 out of 5, sorry, can't talk. 4 out of 5 stars for me. So in terms of ranking, Reckless 4.75, Heartless 4.5, Flawless and Hopeless 4, and then Powerless 3.9. In terms of spice, Powerless will win. I think Hopeless is probably less, yeah. And then everything else is kind of in the middle. So that should give you guys an idea. I hope you guys will enjoy this series as much as I did. Like I said, do not walk, run. Go ahead and go get it immediately. It's worth it. Elsie Silver is now an instant buy for me. Whatever she puts out, I am going to read. And if you've already read those books, please let me know in the comments what you thought, which one was your favorite book, who was your favorite characters. Theo is definitely my favorite male character. Strongly after that would be Jasper. In terms of female character, Willa is definitely my favorite character, and then Winter will be in second. So as you can tell, you want to read all of the books because you will get something out of every one of them. It's not a definite, like, this is the person you love, these are the couples you love. You will learn to fall in love with people, all the characters, this world. Love this, love, love, love. Give it a try. And if you enjoyed videos like this, please let me know. If there are series that you guys want me to read and review, I can also do that. Please like and subscribe and just continue on this journey with me. Bye.